This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
This show is naughty and might make you a potty mouth.
Can you repeat the part of the stuff where you said all about things?
Well, they rubes because I don't cotton to rubes.
Oh, Ruby!
Watch your language in front of the lady, punk!
It's a covenant cleanup.
Personal foul. Flipping.
Shall we begin?
Soft and warm, the quiet storm. KFAN. It's the quiet storm for now, but we got the Saturday tell yesterday from the Greenbrier, which means the expectations are for the Minnesota Vikings to be in the black. Welcome to 9 to noon from Egan and the TCO radio studios and the super well-respected Vikings Entertainment Network. Mr. Brett Blakemore guides the great ship Love Covenant from FM 100.3 KFAN, your audio leader for everything that is funky and fun. Nordo produces on site, and I'm Paul Allen. I'll say it again. We got the tell yesterday, boys, and it transpired from the Greenbrier in West Virginia, which means the expectations for the Minnesota Vikings Saturday at 3 o'clock. We got the info from something that has green in the name, and we expect to be in the black, and here's what I mean. Off what we learned yesterday from Texans sideline guy, the Hayes in the barn, and now we ride. Hayes in the barn, now we ride. Hayes in the barn, now we ride. Hayes in the barn, now we ride. The Texans sideline guy set us up. Maybe you heard it via the podcast, maybe you heard it live. Saturday, first preseason game, 3 o'clock, audio leader, KFAN, 3-2. 3-2. C.J. Stroud, well, there are others, but for the purpose of Hayes in the barn, now we ride. Hayes in the barn, now we ride. C.J. Stroud, fine young man. Nico Collins, fine young man. Big young man, not super fast. Flo did a number on him last year, but this is a preseason game. Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. Stroud, Collins, Will Anderson, and Danielle Hunter are not going to play this weekend. All right? Texans sideline guy kind of set us up with that a little bit yesterday, didn't he? The latter two here are key. Messrs. Anderson and Hunter. Where there's no will, there better be a way for J.J. McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings offense. You see, we're putting these crumbs together, which are leading us to the hay bean in the barn, and now it's time for us to ride. Before the night practice, Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, reigning coach of the year, by the way, he shared with the assembled media, which is a conduit to the public, that J.J. McCarthy indeed will play in the preseason game against the Texans. The assumption if J.J. McCarthy is playing, I would say most, maybe 4/5 or 3/5 of the Minnesota Moving Company will be in front of him. And Jordan Addison, I believe, absolutely will play. Jalen Naylor, I believe, absolutely will play. So you're going to get an iteration of what the Vikings' first offense, at least components thereof, have taken part in a majority of training camp without Justin Jefferson and recently without TJ Hawkinson. So if you just think about that and everything that you've seen, heard, or read via stories or social media, the Minnesota Vikings defense has at times had its way with the Minnesota Vikings offense in training camp. Byron Murphy Jr. Will join 9 to noon a little later, and we'll talk about the defense. I mean, just not letting up an inch, even against an offense with a 22-year-old quarterback who's never done it at this level. No Jefferson, no Hawkinson, but no care from Flores and those guys, because that's the opponent. The guys wearing the white and purple. It's our offense, but it's our opponent, I believe Byron will say, and we got to shut them down. Well, what we're going to encounter Saturday at 3 o'clock, specifically without Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter for the Texans, that's like for the Vikings' first offense, specifically the quarterback. They're going from the fire to the frying pan, which is off the burner. From an ever-spreading amoeba and cloud of confusion to simpler times and a road paved with purple and gold opportunity. After 2 weeks against this thing, that amoeba, rejoice. First downs are there to be had, ladies and gentlemen. Feel me on all this? We should expect plays to be made this Saturday, beginning at 3 o'clock on KFAN, simply because we're shedding the amoeba and we're going against something that's not the amoeba, which means Hayes in the barn. Now we ride. Hayes in the barn. Now we ride. This excites 9 to noon because it's easy to figure out. Football can be quite complicated. There's a line of delineation here. What we've seen from the Minnesota Vikings' first defense is going to be high end in the National Football League, 2025. Can I get a witness on that?
Hallelujah.
Now, what we're going to see with the Texans, even with Anderson and or Hunter, is not going to be as good as what we see with the Minnesota Vikings' first defense during the course of practice. And when you take away their 2 best players, and we have the quarterback on whom we're going to count this season with a receiver after the 3rd week and that pesky suspension, that's the one, Jordan Addison. You should be able to move the ball a little bit against these guys. That's the Hayes in the barn. Now we ride. First downs, quarterback running for first downs, yards after catch, no amoeba, no 46 up on you. That's the expectation for this weekend. And good morning.
Good morning. And I can't wait. And that kind of dovetails off the conversation from yesterday in terms of how we read through the tea leaves in terms of what we've seen from the offense, the dominance of the defense, and then just trying to raise J.J. McCarthy and how real or how honest we're being about it and the good times and the bad times associated with putting 9 out there. I can't wait for this freaking game just because, again, whether Flores is playing or coaching with an axe to grind, whatever it is, it has been so stark. It has been so dominant. It has been so unbelievable that we're starting to do segments about the 85 Bears 9 to noon. That's how crazy this defense has looked here in Egan. So the ability to go instead of, you're right, no, if there's no Will, as in Will Anderson,
right, there
should be a way through it.
Right.
When we're talking about Darrell Taylor, we're going to maybe see some Tim Settle out there because Sheldon Rankins, he's getting older. You're going to see Dylan Horton. You're going to see E.J. Speed. And sadly, he never lived up to his name. Christian Harris, etc.
They're all new age Audie Coles, okay? And Audie could play the game, okay, but he was a backup, and he's not Grenard or Van Ginkel. But anyway.
And so just to release that pressure, PA, just to take that weighted vest off and just find, and for me,
I feel better now just the way you put that.
I'm thinking about this and what you said yesterday, and it is, there are front runners where when times are good, you're on top of the world, you're cloud 9, and when times are awful, you're an absolute disaster. That's, the front runners, we know what that means and what that looks like. But you said about JJ in particular that he's a confidence guy. And I was thinking about that.
I think he is.
And you can feel that a little bit emanating when you interact with him, but the idea that brings me to is it is tough, even if you know you're doing the right things. And again, when you're watching him on the practice field, he looks the part, he's making the right decisions, but you're seeing wide receivers that are covered. You're seeing absolute impossible situations where he's running for his life. And if the plays were real, he's getting sacked, it feels like, every other play. So that's a problem. How do you build confidence from that? And so the ability, in a preseason game, in an exhibition that doesn't count, where a lot of his boys aren't going to be out there with him on the field on Saturday, the ability to find maybe some confidence just to say, oh yeah, against 90% of defenses, this is how that play is supposed to look.
Thank you.
And, hey, Silas Bolden got open on this play against the Texans in an exhibition going against a rookie corner in Jalen Smith, their third rounder for Houston. Well, I can only imagine how open Justin Jefferson's going to be on this play week 2 against the Falcons at U.S. Bank Stadium. So if he is indeed a confidence guy, these are the opportunities, not only this Saturday, but then those 2 joints that we're going to be out on the field for next week against Vrabel's Patriots.
Yeah.
Finding confidence and seeing success. If we're seeing success, we're building confidence as Rubes. And most notably then, number 9 would be finding some of that success and confidence from there as well. So the ability, yes, if there's no Will and there's no Daniil, there should absolutely be pathways to points on Saturday against the Texans.
Gentlemen, you are going from the friendly fire of a 3-4 hybrid with floaters and a side dish of Doug Plank's 46 to a 3-4-4-3 base, sans Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter. The tell was laid out yesterday from the glitzy Poshin Tony Greenbrier in West Virginia. And I don't even think the sideline guy knew he was laying out a tell because he doesn't exactly know how things are going here.
Right.
It's preseason. You don't overly examine or overly exaggerate or overly become concerned with certain things at training camp. Well, that's what they said to those who were sparring with Mike Tyson before he became a professional boxer. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. I mean, this guy's really good, but you know what? You got in a couple right there and cool. And then Mama said, knock everybody out. And that's what Iron Mike did. And that's kind of like, defensively speaking, when all these ones are rolling around with Hargrave and Allen and Grenard and Van Ginkel and Cashy and Ivan Pace Jr., Byron Murphy Jr., Isaiah Rodgers, the well-sculpted Jeff Okudah, Josh Metellus, Theo Jackson, Harrison Smith. That's an amoeba.
It is.
The defensive line, as I found out the other night, has a nickname called the Dark Side. Marcus Dixon, the defensive line coach, shared that with me after the night practice. So we're running into the first offense without Jefferson and or Hawkinson. Are running into an amoeba that is a 3-4 hybrid with floaters and a side dish of Gary Fensick's 4-6. And now the defensive line is known as the Dark Side. I mean, this just keeps getting darker by the moment for an offense without Jefferson and Hawkinson, but alas, that's why we have Saturday at 3:00.
Yeah,
because that's not the Dark Side. Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter and whomever else won't play. That's not the amoeba. That's not the Dark Side. Which means plays need to be made. Which means Hayes in the barn. Now we ride. Hayes in the barn. Now we ride. The first offense makes plays this weekend, right? The first offense makes plays this weekend, right?
Yes.
Sam Howell. I don't know Sam Howell. I chatted with him briefly.
Seems like a nice guy, right?
Really not. I mean, I can't tell you how good I feel for that young man with what's coming up this weekend because he gets to breathe. He gets to eliminate training camp tape against the amoeba that now is guided by the Dark Side. And with pass rushers coming off the edge that are just absolutely hell-bent to ruin everything you're trying to do, Sam Howell gets to, look back at film of a game and go, wow, I do know what I'm doing. I mean, things do loosen up. I do belong.
Well, picture just being able to do like a 5-step drop and then just step up in the pocket without Jalen Redmond breathing in your face.
I get to step up in the pocket, plant, fire. Silas caught it. We got a first down. They cheered. This happens.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember this. Sam Howell this weekend is going to feel like it's UNC, North Carolina, where he went to school, versus a group of baggage handlers from Houston Hobby.
How's he supposed to learn the playbook when he never gets to his second read?
That's a very fair point. I mean, maybe he has a neck ache. It's like maybe when he talks to Kevin, he's like, my neck's a little stiff now. I just couldn't look that way. And speaking of Kevin O'Connell, I mean, I hope Kevin O'Connell and D'Amico Ryans are friends. That's the coach of the Houston Texans. What's going to come out of the head coach this weekend? It's a preseason game. You don't want to show your prime stuff. But after a couple of weeks of the way things have gone here, I mean, we might have 9 routes, double moves. Addison might play into the fourth quarter against a bunch of college free agents pining to make the practice squad. I mean, O'Connell just may let loose this weekend and say, see? I mean, we get up and down the field when we want.
But now but to that end, does it kind of have to, like we talked a couple of weeks ago with this team, you make the decision and the commitment to J.J. McCarthy. And we know about number 12 and some phone calls and who was entertaining what and who wanted to be in Minnesota more, all of that with Mr. Rogers. And best of luck to him in Pittsburgh, where it does not look like it's running on all cylinders yet. But Tomlin's good. He'll figure it out. But they make the commitment to move on beyond Mr. Darnold. Best of luck in Seattle.
Right.
And they said, this is our guy. So we were chatting a couple weeks ago.
It's our guy.
The commitment and the expectation, winning a playoff game.
Yeah.
That if you're trusting the coach and the coaching staff's getting all the awards and all the love and all the flowers, and for the most part, rightly so, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But and then you put the work you do in the offseason to build what's around McCarthy.
It's stigma avoidance.
Your expectation should not be up and down season. Maybe they battle for a wild card spot. No, this team won 14 games last year.
Thank you.
This is a double-digit win team, and if they put the commitment on number 9, they need to be in the playoff mix and playing in late January. So that's the one thing.
Yeah.
But now in the exhibition side of things, talking about Saturday, we need this to look like Alabama playing Texas State in late August.
At least a little bit.
Early in particular with the best of what you're, the early on, the McCarthy and whatever you're putting out there beside him.
Mm-hmm.
You do then, your expectation on Saturday, late afternoon, is actually seeing that success. And however it is, if it's vanilla or more of the basic, we're playing the B-side hits for you in a preseason game before we get you with the A topics in the regular season games that count, whatever that is. If it's Xavier Scott running the ball behind him, this stuff needs to work on Saturday.
Right.
And find that success. And it's not just about taking off the weighted vest and finding confidence against maybe an inferior defensive group. It's actually, this offense just needs to show that growth and progression that is still a little bit of a projection with what we've seen with this defensive dominant performance here in Eagan.
And if I'm Davis Mills, okay, who will be the quarterback for the Houston Texans, we believe, right out of the gate. And he'll be C.J. Stroud's number 2. Davis I got it on a card somewhere, he started a fair amount of games, but then C.J. Stroud showed up, and my man Davis hasn't started a regular season game since C.J. Stroud joined the chat. So if I'm Davis Mills, I start losing sleep right now. I mean, I think about if I'm paying attention to this game, it behooves that young man to start losing sleep right now. If that young man has to deal with the amoeba we've seen the last 2 weeks, may God be with him. So Saturday, the hay's in the barn, now we ride. The hay's in the barn, now we ride. Let's hope the chain doesn't get caught in the pedal, the banana seat doesn't become unhinged, and we crash and scrape our knees on metaphorical concrete. All of that's provided by TimberTech and TimberTech.com. It's part of what's on deck 9 to noon, which includes Vikes Bites around the corner. Vikes Bites. And after that, Florio from PFT, ProFootballTalk.com. The Scribe will join us here at the TCO radio studio about 10 o'clock. And Byron Murphy Jr., cornerback for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes, sir.
The gregarious, loquacious, talented, and kind Byron Murphy Jr. He'll be joining us here. How do we know that? Because we recorded the interview about 25 minutes ago, and we think you'll enjoy it. That'll be in the final hour. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. Brett Blakemore is guiding things back at the FM 100.3 headquarters for the vast and ever-expanding 9 to noon radio network. We got some Vikes Bites for you when we return to KFAN.
Get ready to laugh out loud. Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias is bringing his comedy tour to Treasure Island Resort and Casino live September 6th and 7th. Don't miss your chance to see one of the world's funniest comedians. Get your tickets today, TICasino.com.
Welcome back, 9 to noon. It is time for Vikes Bites. And Vikes Bites is brought to you by Thousand Hills Lifetime Graze Grass-Fed Beef. You can shop online. A box of meat shows up at your doorstep. You can go to your local Coburn's, Kowalski's locations, co-ops as well. Beef. And they're proud sponsors of Gophers Athletics. But they're also proud sponsors of Vikes Bites.
Vikes Bites!
Thank you.
Vikes Bites, green light, red light, Blakemore's right.
Thank you, Brett. Now, we're going to start here. It's the most newsy of things, although the Vikings, about 15 minutes ago, Vikings fans, sink your teeth into this. You can go to Vikings.com, and the team has released its unofficial depth chart for Saturday's game against the Texans, which we'll bring up a couple of talkers later in VB. But first, the newsy item, it was official. Jordan Addison has been suspended the first 3 games of the 2025 season. So you won't see him Monday night against the Bears. You won't see him against the Falcons at US Bank Stadium. You won't see him against the Bengals. So not that it's no big deal, but it's also not surprising, something I think most of us had been bracing for over the course of the summer following the trials and tribulations of the literal trial taking place out west in L.A. But PA, that is brought up, and it's mostly social media steam. But the idea of the Vikings got to trade for a receiver, guys. Here's the deal. Without Jordan for those first 3 games, it's going to be a complete disaster. And whether you're looking at the unofficial depth chart that is on the Vikings website, which technically almost kind of makes it official since the team put it out, but I'll let them argue with the oxymoron.
No, it's official.
I think it's official, but it's unofficial because it's early August.
It's the team's version of what is your opinion on the depth of this team, with a right to change that opinion after games and before the season, though.
So Addison will be able to practice. He'll be able to participate in all these games. PA wants him to play every single offensive snap of all 3 preseason games.
Stop.
As somewhat punitive. I thought it was a little bit punitive, but that's fine.
Yeah, it was.
But the steam out there is kind of, we had that talk back yesterday. Hey, there's that guy down in Charlotte that maybe hung out in the offseason the last couple of years with J.J. McCarthy. Maybe Detroit Lakes go crazy. Maybe he could come back to Minnesota and ride with this offense one more time. But there's been a lot of steam about, hey, we got to go out there without Addison. Love Justin Jefferson, of course. Jalen Naylor, he's dropped a few passes in practice. I'm worried about Speedy. Lucky Jackson, forgot he was on the team. Ty Felton, the rookie, he's been up and down at camp. Your thoughts in terms of the implications of not having him and maybe the routes to affect the roster or roll with what you got as we slowly get closer to the regular season?
Well, with Adam Thielen, we mentioned. Well, no, there was a talkback yesterday with talkback Timmy jumping in there making a suggestion, and I'm like, hey, I like how you're seeing it. If I'm Dave Canales or if I'm running the Carolina Panthers, I ain't got much. I got young receivers, and I want to raise my young receivers, but he's the best receiver on my team. He caught fire at the end of the year. The quarterback finally is good.
Yeah.
And then now I'm going to take his nookie blankie and just be like, bye, there you go. I don't see that happening. But nevertheless, Adam Thielen is the bomb. If he came back here, it'd be fantastic.
It'd be sweet.
But with Addison missing the first 3 games, first thing that comes to my mind is, get on with that no JJ, no Jets. Okay, 3-2. Get on with that Justin Jefferson hamstring. Get on with that hamstring. Let's get that thing better. Hey, let's get that thing better. It's what I see in practice. There are times where I'm like, I don't care about the hamstring strain. He needs to be out there, so they just put 2 people on him.
Right.
So we can eliminate one extra rusher. We can feel good about ourselves. To now, it's okay. Let's with TLC, tender, loving care, let's baby that hamstring and make sure it is hit legit when you go to Soldier Field without Jordan Addison. So first thing I think of is let's get Justin right. On with that Rondale Moore. On with that twitchy number 4 for the Minnesota Vikings, at least for 3 games. Let's get Rondale Moore going. Let's get Jalen Naylor going, and after that. Sounds like a great game to run the ball 65% of the time. Jalen, we need you to display your run blocking skills as a wide receiver. And let's see, who are our best run blocking tight ends? We got Josh Oliver, and we have All right, well, let's run behind Oliver, and then maybe when we go the other way, we sell the run and we boot, and then we find Silas Bolden deep. So that's kind of where my mind goes with the Addison thing. I mean, I think it was, people could draw conclusions for weeks that he was going to be suspended for 3 games. Now it's official. So he can practice in training camp. He can play in the preseason games, and I fully expect him to play this weekend.
I got this text, Matt in New York. He's already, first of all, he wants to trade for Kirk as a backup. So he's done with Howell. He's got no faith in Howell. And he thinks they should sign for Amari Cooper. So now Amari Cooper's name is in the mix being thrown around. But Vikes Bite style here. Vikes Bites! Vikes Bite style, talking about running the game, running the ball. Maybe that's a big part of the offense, specifically early. Maybe it's part raising the quarterback. You invest in Jordan Mason. Love that. What do we know about Xavier Scott, PA? So he's this undrafted cat. Hey. Spent time at UConn in Maine.
Yep.
Sounds like he was he's probably got a really cool story. He went to high school in Germany, and he was born at Fort Hood. So I think he was an Army brat.
Yeah.
But he chilled with the Colts. He was undrafted in 2023, spent last season on our practice squad.
Yeah, he played in all the Colts preseason games last year.
Okay, perfect. Well, yeah, and then he signed with us maybe late August is when, but I don't know when he joined the team, to be honest with you. I think it was August 24th.
This quarterback you're going to see this weekend for the Texans, Keaton Slovis. Keaton Slovis, the BYU guy who started at USC, played all the preseason games for the Indianapolis Colts last year. I think he passed for 78% on the completion percentage, and they liked him so much that they released him. And he subsequently ended up with the Houston Texans, and Keaton Slovis, we're going to see him this weekend. Same with the man they call Zay.
Yeah, but Xavier Scott, just kind of a little bit steamy, and maybe it's part of just watching these guys play. And he's sizable, man. 6'1", 220. Yep. He's a 4'5" guy, so he's not a speedster, but he's big, he's powerful. Is there competition at the third running back spot right now? Is there any chance that Ty Chandler, he got the opportunity, he's had the chances, but maybe if they're looking to try and upgrade that or get something different, physically Xavier Scott looks different than Ty Chandler, is there competition at that spot?
What about Trey Stewart?
What about you?
Thank you.
Like I know who Trey Stewart is.
Yes, thank you. It's radio, so you couldn't see his face. What a baby face. Xavier Scott has had an absolutely fantastic training camp.
Oh, sweet.
As has Ty Chandler. Now, Xavier he's like you said, you laid it out beautifully. He's built bigger than Ty Chandler. He's not as fast as Ty Chandler. With Scott, because he hasn't received the opportunity preseason or in truncated fashion regular season to catch the ball, I don't know if he catches it as well as Ty because I don't know if Scott can catch.
Right.
But if you just think the reshaping of the dream, get bigger in the middle. Get a running back from San Francisco who's bigger than the starting running back, and we're going to use him. His name's Jordan Mason. Get bigger at the defensive tackle spot. Get bigger here, get bigger there. Maybe they want to get more size with their third running back. And I fully feel Ty is in a battle, an absolute battle for that third running back spot. And the special teams prowess in these preseason games, when you listen to them on KFAN, the special teams prowess of who's doing it right and why. Chandler and Scott are going to need to show out in these preseason games, but also on special teams behind the scenes.
I just got this text from Dan. If Zay went to high school in Germany, can we bring back Moritz Boehringer? The German cat that we tried years ago. And then I would also then ask, what about Babatunde Ayegbusi?
Oh, holy cow.
The Polish Punisher.
Babatunde was so big.
6'9".
But sometimes
didn't work out.
Yeah, sometimes you're built like Tarzan and you play like Jane. We had one of those guys on the team this year who man, when I saw that 99 first day I rolled out here, name might have been Alexander Williams.
He was a huge dude.
I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it was unbelievable how big he was. And I think he's probably...
You thought Daniil was back.
I think he's opening eyes with his size on somebody else's...
he was released maybe in favor of Matt Nelson.
Yep.
Did you see that news, by the way? I think he tore his bicep in the night practice.
Who did?
That Matt Nelson cat that we recently added to the
me?
team. Yeah, it stinks.
Well, yeah, but you've been here 48 hours, and now all of a sudden you get the short-term disability comp, and you get
there are benefits to that.
All the per diem for the road, and you just hope
the insurance paperwork went through.
Oh, what a world!
You've only been here for like 48 hours, and then he gets hurt. That stinks.
Never knew you. Holy cow!
I know we're out of time. I got more stuff. Maybe I know we're going to do NFL news, do Nord, maybe a late 10 a.m. hour. But that's Vikes Bites. Thank you so much, Thousand Hills Lifetime Graze grass-fed beef.
When 9 to noon continues, we head out West Virginia way and chat with Mike Florio from ProFootballTalk.com. And that's next on FM 100.3 KFAN.
Rock legend Daryl Hall is taking over the Minnesota State Fair Grandstand August 28th. Tickets available now for this can't-miss show. Get full details, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
PFT, we. Welcome back to the Vikings Entertainment Network and the TCO radio studio. Byron Murphy Jr., cornerback for the Minnesota Vikings, joins us a couple of hours from now. But now one of our very favorites, the creator and proprietor of ProFootballTalk.com, also an author, and his newest creation, Big Shield, is released August 19th. You can pre-order now at ProFootballTalk.com. He's Mike Florio, and here he is. Michael, it's Paul Allen. Good morning. How are you?
And it's a measly 99 cents for the ebook, which is one of the stupidest business decisions I have ever made. We have already pre-sold almost as many of Big Shield as we have for my other 3 novels combined.
Right.
We're just a couple of units short of that. I can track it all in real time. It's stupid. But the goal is to promote reading as something that's enjoyable. I'm scarred. We're all scarred by being forced to read books we didn't want to read in school. It is something that is a fun, rewarding, informative diversion, especially when it's not football season. And you got time to read this book before the regular season gets going. And more importantly, I am fine. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. But the steam you just shared shouldn't surprise you. I mean, it's now we have some book writing equity with a father and or son of mine. But that has the mob, the mafia, Wheeling, West Virginia, the gambling bent to it. Big Shield has the same thing, but includes the big entity as not the NFL, but pro football. And also Florio fans. So, you're going to get PFT fans. It just has a different audience to it that I think is fantastic.
Yeah, this is fishing where the fish are because it is a football novel. Now, when real football is going on, why do I care about a fictionalized version of the game? It is a story that I think is a cautionary tale for what the NFL could eventually face if it isn't diligent, if the players aren't careful, if someone decides to make some easy money. And one of the themes is there's no such thing as easy money. And that's one of the things I've learned in my 60 years of life. But at one point, I thought easy money really was easy money, and there was a way to make easy money. And there is no such thing as easy money, whatever the temptation may be. And in this context, it is providing inside information both before and during games to shady underworld figures who then take that information and act on it in real time via the configuration of their wagers. So that's what it's about. That's the premise, and it all kind of goes from there. A lot of the stylistic stuff is similar to Father of Mine and Son of Mine, where the book is told from the perspective of the 3 main characters, one chapter rotating in a rhythm that goes the whole way through the book. Each character has 27 chapters. It's 81 total, and it all comes together at the end. So I have read it at least 20 times in an effort to get it ready to go, and I think it's pretty damn good. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, we'll get to football in a second. Nordo and I off the radio yesterday, we're talking about like the mafia and mobs and stuff like that, and like the movie Casino or Goodfellas, and that old school stuff where like somewhere in New York City you may see behind the scenes grainy footage of a table outside of an Italian restaurant. It has a phone on it, and like what the mob stereotype would look like from back in the 70s. Do you think it's still like that? Like, I don't know, New York City, Las Vegas, or is it all digital terrorism and people around the world and stuff just trying to pilfer your credit card? Is that like New Age Mafia?
Well, I don't know how sophisticated those folks have become. I assume it's still a cash-based business. You don't want to create digital footprints that can be uncovered by someone. The RICO Act, which became a very popular tool in the 70s and into the 80s for breaking up mob entities, I think went a long way toward disrupting the organized crime element, but it's still out there. Illegal bookmaking operations are still out there, even with all of the apps that we have on our phones in most of the states where you can bet instantaneously. The difference between the mob and DraftKings and FanDuel is that the mob will work on credit. You don't have to have the cash money that you put into your account when you're dealing with the mob. Now, you assume the risk of a potentially serious accident if you don't pay, but there are still differences when it comes to the illegal gambling operations that are all supervised in one shape or another by mob entities. And, the term mafia, look, the mob generally, it's any group out there that is doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. And when there's more than one person involved, it's an organization. And this fictional group that I have in Big Shield is set in Vegas, where they have a network of information they get from athletes in every sport, and they get it in real time, and they make their bets through legal apps, and they screw the sports books, and they do it in a way that is aimed at avoiding detection. So I don't know that there's something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if there was. I just came up with it because it made for a good story.
Who read the audio version for you?
There isn't one yet.
Oh, there isn't.
We're working on audio deal for the existing books. It's taken a little while to get the contract finalized and presented to me for consideration. I was hoping to do Father of Mine, Son of Mine, and On Our Way Home during our downtime of PFT Live. The reality is there was no downtime, so I wouldn't have had time to do it anyway. I'd like to do it. I just know it's going to be a massive pain in the ass. Just one of them, much less four of them. But people want it, and I think it would do well, and I think they want it in my voice. Playmakers was not in my voice because, frankly, the in-house editor at Hachette was being just passive-aggressive enough as it relates to the audio deal to let me realize they really didn't want me to do it. And it's like, that's fine. I'm not going to fight you to do something that's going to take me like 50 hours to do, and it isn't going to make me any more money at the end of the day. But I think with these novels, I'd like to do it, and hopefully that's what will happen.
I'd like to do it too. Like 3-2. There's no such thing as easy money. Carson Jeffrey thought otherwise. It allowed
do you want to do it? Do you want to do it?
It allowed him
Seriously.
to supplement his pay as a third-string pro quarterback with cash from the mob.
Hey, this is good. Do you want to do the audio book of Big Shit? I would have to go back and find. It's too late because the text is locked, but I would want to work in Andy's loose in there somewhere.
The plan worked until it didn't, and then it was loose. Cut by his team in Las Vegas, Jeffrey faces intense pressure to find a new place to keep doing his other job. That's going to be good, man. All right, football. So Jerry Jones.
He comes to Minnesota at one point, by the way. He comes to Minnesota for a tryout.
Sweet. This Jerry Jones, the stuff that you're writing about, man, it's so interesting to me. Jerry Jones, owner of the Cowboys, trying to close the Micah Parsons deal with one-on-one chats, like a handshake, like, Micah, you got me, I got you. Eliminating the player's agent, which is against the rules. Yet the league and NFLPA keep looking the other way. The question is why?
It really is astounding to me. Now, look, at the end of the day, it actually helps the players for Jerry Jones to try to do this because they end up waiting too long to do the deals. They end up paying too much when the deals are done. And this is a point Chris Sims made today when we were talking about it on PFT Live. The owners will cite the rules when the rules support what they want to do. When the rules don't support what they want to do, what rules? And that's what Jerry's trying to do. And it really is ridiculous to me. And I think where they are, when I try to distill what's going on here, I believe if we were to make a flow chart, like the Cowboys have whatever deal they think Micah agreed to when talking directly to Jerry in March of 2025. Okay, we want him to take that. If he doesn't, we want him to play this year at $24 million, and we'll kick the can to next year. And I think what Jerry may ultimately do is dare him to not play, to cite back tightness or some other injury to avoid playing this year, because I think that owners, and this is a microcosm of the bigger dynamic that comes into play when it's time to talk about lockouts and strikes, and the owners will shut the sport down for a full season, but the players won't shut it down for a weekend. Football players want to play football. And I think that Jerry is banking on the fact that if he won't take whatever they think he agreed to in March, and they won't give him whatever he wants now, he'll play this year for $24 million.
$24 million for 1 year.
Yeah, versus
right.
and I know people hear that and say, oh, we need to have a bake sale for him. But when the market's $41 million, and you have very limited opportunities during your NFL career to get the kind of money that will take care of multiple generations, you've got to use your leverage. You've got to be aggressive. And I think that they're going to try to put him in a box and dare him to only play for $24 million this year at a time when the market's 41, and he'll be risking the kind of injury that would prevent him from ever getting the money that he has earned based upon what he's done in his first 4 NFL seasons.
Travis Hunter split offensive and defensive reps recently at a Jaguars practice with the fans there. Is this fascinating to you, what's developing with Travis Hunter?
Absolutely. Look, they traded up from number 5 to number 2 to get Travis Hunter because they see him as 2 for the price of 1. And it really is 2 for the price of 1 because there's nothing in his rookie contract that pays him more for playing both sides. Now, they have a supplemental pay program, pay for performance, like based upon your total reps, you can get more money at the end of the day, but that doesn't come out of the team's pockets. So they get him for 5 years at 1 salary. And if he wants to play both ways, fine by us. The fact that Liam Cohen, the coach of the team, told Rich Eisen recently it's possible for Travis Hunter to win both offensive and defensive rookie of the year, that tells you they plan to play this guy. And we were having a conversation last week during the production meeting for the Hall of Fame pregame show, and the segment didn't make the air because time constraints killed it. Great conversation, though, and great takes from people like Jason Garrett, the Cowboys coach, who was the Cowboys quarterback when Deion Sanders was playing both ways. And he said, and Chris brought this up yesterday, so I don't feel bad about disclosing it. It's not like it was a secret. It's what Jason would have said on the air. But Troy Aikman did not want to have to tell Deion Sanders after each huddle broke what his assignment was on the play. You've got to be involved. You've got to be up to speed. Now, when Garrett took Aikman's place Thanksgiving Day, the year that Deion was playing offense, he gladly told Deion what his assignment was before each play. But, you know, that's part of what happens. You get diluted. You're not as ready to play everything you need to play and know what you need to know on offense and on defense. And it's funny because Tony Dungy was part of the conversation. Well, he never had a two-way player because Peyton Manning never would have tolerated having a receiver who was anything other than completely and totally all in with the offense. So that's really the question. What kind of a burden does it put on the other guys around him? Because it's impossible for Travis Hunter to know everything he would know as well as he would know it if he was only playing offense or only playing defense. That's where this becomes a real experiment for the Jaguars, and we'll see how it plays out. But they clearly want him to play both ways.
What I'm probably lastly, because of time constraints, what's key with this new NFL ESPN deal?
It really is amazing to see, and it's not a surprise because for more than 20 years, the NFL has had its own in-house media company. Now, NFL leverages what has never really performed the way they wanted it to by way of NFL Network. Now, Red Zone's been popular, but NFL Network has never become what they thought it would be, but they foist some of these properties onto ESPN, and they take a 10% stake in a broadcast partner. So that means ESPN and ABC are going to be in the rotation. Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to not sell a package of games to a company that they own 10% of? The other wrinkle, too, and this goes beyond the journalistic stuff, look, people should care, but they won't care. Anything ESPN reports on now that involves like league controversy, sensitive issues, you're gonna have to factor in the reality that the NFL owns 10% of ESPN when deciding whether or not to believe what they're telling you. Right. The issue that really needs further exploration, what does holding 10% equity in ESPN mean for the players? Because the players get half of the money that comes through the cash register. So when you take an NFL property and you don't turn it into cash that would be shared with the players, but you turn it into equity that apparently isn't shared with the players, how does that work? What does that do? And we've started to poke around the edges of that, but that's something that I think needs plenty of focus and attention, and it's a challenge for the new NFLPA executive director, the interim executive director, David White, because it could be that the owners are trying to pull a fast one here by taking something that isn't shared with the players by way of equity versus money that would be shared with the players. So there's a lot of different fronts, there's a lot of different issues, a lot of different angles, and I am kind of surprised it took this long for the NFL to do what they're doing, but here we go, and we'll see how it plays out.
And I forgot to bring this up earlier, but 3-2. Big Shield is a cautionary tale for pro sports in an age of normalized gambling and instant wagering. Players know things that bettors don't. Those players can be corrupted by the lure of easy money, even if there's no such thing as easy money. What do you think?
It's pretty good. I'm telling you, if you want to do it, if you have like an extra 50 hours to sit down and read Big Shield, have at it.
Yep, but on the other side of it, I'm sure you will compensate me as much as KFAN has compensated you over a couple of decades, right?
I think that's a fair trade.
You're the very best. Have a wonderful week. Talk soon.
Bye.
By Florio, ProFootballTalk.com. It's PFT. Yeah, we. From the TCO radio studio at the vast and ever-expanding Posh and Tony Vikings Entertainment Network. I'm Paul Allen, excited to take 9 to noon into the second hour. Brett Blakemore is producing at the flagship for Love Covenant Productions, on-site producing The Con! And this is 9 to noon.
The day begins at the Chase Sapphire Lounge by the club at Boston Logan Airport. You get the clam chowder. In San Diego, it's tostadas. New York, espresso martini. It's 10 a.m. Why not? It's the quiet before your next flight, the shower that resets your day, the menu that lets you know where you are. This is access to over 1,300 airport lounges and every Sapphire Lounge by the club. And one card that gets you in. Chase Sapphire Reserve, the most rewarding card.
Learn more at chase.com/Sapphire Reserve. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC, subject to credit approval.